The Houston Rockets are flying out of the gates behind the play of Alperen Şengün and newly acquired future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant. But prior to the season, veteran guard Fred VanVleet tore his ACL during an off-season workout. Of course, we hope for a speedy recovery for VanVleet, but his injury opened the door for second-year guard Reed Sheppard. In this video, I'll break down his career best game against the Denver Nuggets, highlighting his strengths, areas I'd like to see him develop, and how he showcased why the organization utilized a top 3 pick on him just a year and a half ago. For Reed, it's all about his ability as a shooter, specifically as a catch-and-shoot 3-point shooter. Through 14 games this season, Reed is shooting 28 of 56 on his catch-and-shoot 3-point attempts, a mark of 50%, which ranks second in the NBA with players of at least 50 attempts. This skill set was on full display against the Nuggets Friday night, demonstrating his nearly flawless mechanics, his ability to maintain spacing and run the floor, and stay poised under pressure. Reed was fouled on 2 3-point attempts in this game, a good indication of how defenses already view him as a knockdown shooter, feeling the need to close out with reckless abandon when they see him wide open with the basketball in his hands. And by no means do I think Reed is a one-dimensional player. There were numerous instances in this game of Reed attacking closeouts and getting to the rim, or utilizing that patented mid-range pull-up. Reed has struggled finishing at the rim throughout the season, but in this game, his confidence seemed sky high. This is a play demonstrating that mid-range pull-up game that Reed has in his arsenal. As you can see, Steven Adams sets a bruising screen on his defender Bruce Brown. I think he does a good job navigating the screen and getting Valanciunas in a compromising position. But you'll see right above the foul line, Reed gives a little hesitation / pump fake. I think right there he has an open shot. Valanciunas' momentum is taking him towards the basket, and Reed has the ability to elevate very quickly and get a shot off. Instead, he takes 2 more dribbles and elevates and draws a foul. I think a word to describe this part of Reed's game is just slippery. For a young and smaller guard especially, I think this is going to be a huge part of his game. I love how quickly and high he can elevate on his jump shots, and I think as he gets more reps in this area, he'll know when and where to get his shot off. When it comes to Reed's playmaking, I wouldn't say that I'm blown away by anything. I think the construction of this Houston Rockets team doesn't lend itself to Reed's ability to showcase what he can do as a primary ball handler and playmaker. I think every once in a while Reed shows some flashes that he can operate as a primary ball handler, also a great connector piece who isn't a ball stopper despite being one of the best shooters in the NBA. This was probably my favorite pass of the night from Reed. This play essentially serves as a pick and roll with Steven Adams. As you can see, he receives a bounce pass from Adams, and then Adams makes his dive to the rim. And then from there, the Nuggets corner defender Spencer Jones sees how occupied Valanciunas is with Reed and slides over to help with the rolling Steven Adams, leaving Holiday wide open in the corner. And as Reed elevates, he makes the skip pass all the way over to the corner for a wide open 3-point attempt. Again, being one of the smallest players on the court, I think it's really impressive for him to be able to see an opening in such a congested area, elevate almost as if he's shooting a jumper again, and then a skip pass to the corner for a wide open 3. Really good stuff there by Reed. I also love this play by Reed. So he does a handoff with Amen Thompson, who gets into the paint, and then an off-ball screen is set for Reed by Steven Adams. Instead of using that screen, he slams on the brakes and cuts back and gets himself wide open for a 3. And of course, at this point in the game, he's been knocking down all of his shots. So you see a hard closeout from Jamal Murray, leaving Jabari Smith wide open in the corner for the tray ball. This is what I'm talking about when I say he's a great connector piece. He easily could have taken this shot here, but instead he passes it up for essentially an even better shot. So again, when it comes to Reed's playmaking, there's nothing that really jumps off the screen for you, but it's a lot of little things that you really like to see. And I think if he does have the opportunity to be more of a primary ball handler, I think that would be great for his development down the road. As for Reed's defense, I don't think he's a hound you 94 feet point of attack defender, but I wouldn't say that he's a liability on that end either. I think he's very aggressive with his hands, and away from the ball he has really good defensive instincts and has an ability to make himself appear bigger to disrupt an offensive player's rhythm. One thing I did notice in this game is that he does gamble a lot for steals. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think playing under head coach Ime Udoka, he probably encourages this type of play and lives with the results, given the defensive infrastructure that this team has. Two defensive plays in particular I wanted to highlight from Reed. The first being defending an action that the Nuggets love to run. As you can see, they set an off-ball screen to get Cam Johnson open, and basically from here, Jokic is reading and reacting to the defense. Of course, he has the ability to lob it over the top to Cam Johnson, but as you'll see, Tim Hardaway Jr., who's setting the screen, breaks free immediately after screening Jabari Smith. And from what it looks like, he has a free layup. But Reed does a really good job recovering, staying vertical, and making what should have been 2 points a really difficult shot at the rim. And I think that's what I talk about when I say Reed has a really good ability to make himself bigger in spaces where he necessarily shouldn't be. Also, just the ability to not foul in that situation, very impressive as well. Another clip that really stood out to me, you'll see Reed is on the low right block, defending Bruce Brown, who is in the right corner. Jamal Murray dishes it down to Valanciunas, who from here is in a pretty good position, all things considered. To the right of him, he has Aaron Holiday, a smaller guard. Also rotating over is Amen Thompson, who of course is a tremendous defender and a tremendous athlete, but probably isn't going to be there in time to affect the shot if Valanciunas decided to go up with this. But it's Reed Sheppard who really makes an impact on this play. And one thing that really stands out to me is that he doesn't really commit to Valanciunas until the last second. It feels like Valanciunas wants to shoot this, and then at the last possible moment, Reed slides over, again goes vertical and tries to meet him as high as he can and forces an errant pass to the corner and a turnover for the Nuggets. Again, just really good defensive instincts here by Reed, and I feel like his ability as an off-ball defender stood out to me a lot in this game. Overall, I think he's going to benefit from playing in this Houston Rockets system, learning those good defensive habits and playing with other really good defensive players. And I think as he gets older and continues to develop his defensive IQ, of course, as well as getting stronger, I think he's only going to become a better player on this end of the floor. Reed Sheppard's early production is more than a hot streak to me. The film shows real sustainability, and as he keeps sharpening his defensive tools and expanding his playmaking, his ceiling gets very interesting. How high that ceiling is will depend on how he's able to adapt to defenses over time, but one thing is clear to me, he has a chance to be an X factor for the Rockets' playoff run this season. If you found this breakdown helpful, consider liking the video and subscribing for more deep dives. Appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.